Hello everyone, my name is Prajakta Dage. I am from Department of Zoology, KTHM College, Nashik. Today I will be taking a lecture for MSc Part 2, Semester 3. Subject is Soft Skills, chapter is Unit 1 and the topic we are going to see is microscopy. And this is the fourth lecture of this chapter. Today I will be talking about the fluorescence microscope or fluorescent microscope. Fluorescence is the phenomenon that takes place when the ultraviolet, which is invisible light, gets converted to the visible light of different wavelengths. The color of fluorescence that we observe depend on the wavelength. Fluorescence occurs in certain kind of small organic molecules which can be electronically excited when placed in ultraviolet light. The construction of fluorescent microscope is same as that of the light microscope. The difference is that it uses ultraviolet light as a source of illumination and has adapters called as complementary filters. Fluorescent microscopes are very beneficial as the fluorescent materials can be detected even when present in traces or say in extremely small quantities. Another plus point is that these objects can be easily observed even when they are below the power of resolution. Now let's move on to the history of fluorescent microscope. Keuller in 1904 first detected the fluorescence while observing certain tissues. Later on, Kunz et al. In 1941 developed fluorescent antibody technique which caused a revolution in the field of immunology. Now we will move on to the principle of fluorescence microscope or fluorescent microscope. Fluorescence is defined as the phenomenon in which the wavelength of ultraviolet light is converted into a wavelength of light in the visible range. The substance which emits fluorescence is referred to as fluorophore. Ultraviolet light is actually absorbed by the fluorophore and is almost instantaneously re-emitted as rays of longer wavelength in visible range. The change in wavelength from ultraviolet to the visible range is termed as Stokes effect. When ultraviolet light is absorbed by the molecules of the fluorophore, they get excited, absorb energy and change from the ground state to an excited state. Under such conditions, the energy of each molecule is higher than that of its normal or ground state. The surplus energy either gets dissipated as heat or gets emitted as the fluorescence. Okay. Now there are three types of fluorescence. First is autofluorescence, second is secondary fluorescence or fluorochromy, and third is induced fluorescence. Autofluorescence is also referred to as natural or primary fluorescence. It is the one which is present in the cells or tissues without any staining. Secondary fluorescence or fluorochromy involves the use of dyes called as fluorochromes for staining. These dyes are first bound to certain cell components and then observed for their detection and distribution in the cells and tissues. Third one is induced fluorescence. Certain substances are non-fluorescent themselves. but when treated with some chemicals, they change into the fluorescent material. Such fluorescence, or the fluorescence obtained in such a way, is called as induced fluorescence. Now we will move on to the another concept which is called as metachromatic fluorochromes. Now these are the fluorochromes which give fluorescence of more than one color, and this is due to the formation of dimers and polymers of the dye. The best example of this is metachromatic acridins and acridin orange. Acridin orange is a cationic metachromatic fluorophore. It DNA gives green fluorescence while RNA gives red fluorescence with acridin orange. Okay. Now we will move on to another concept which is construction and working of fluorescent microscope, which we will be studying under 5 heads. Those are source of illumination, lamp, optical system, observation system, and illumination system. Let's begin with the first one, source of illumination. The ultraviolet light near the visible range is used as a source of illumination. It is provided at a wavelength corresponding to the excitation maximum of the fluorophore. Initially, carbon arc lamps were used which provided UV rays, which were later on replaced by high pressure mercury lamps. At present, high pressure mercury arcs, xenon arcs, tungsten halogen lamps are commonly used. Now even light in the wavelength ranging from violet to green is also used. Now we'll move on to the lamps. There are 3 types of lamps which are generally used. One is mercury arc lamps, xenon arc lamps, and tungsten halogen lamps. Mercury lamps are most commonly used. Another system that we are going to see is optical system. The UV near the visible range excites the fluorophore and emits light of longer wavelength in the visible range. This requirement is met by using following type of filters: primary excitation filters, and second one is barrier or secondary filter. Primary excitation filter is placed between the UV source and the specimen. It absorbs light of longer wavelength emitted from the UV source. It gives nominally monochromatic illumination depending on the requirement of the fluorophore under study. Barrier or secondary filter, it is fitted in the body tube of the microscope, that is between the object and the eye. It comes in the observation pathway of the image formation and prevents light of the excitation wavelength from reaching the observer's eye. The proper combination of excitation and barrier filter is crucial for observation of the fluorescence. Moving on to observation system, the objectives and the oculars are used for formation of the image of fluorescence. The lens system consists of quartz or fluoride or lithium fluoride. All these materials are transparent to electromagnetic rays, which may be as low as 2000 angstroms. The wavelength of UV used is generally near the visible range, that is approximately between 3500 to 3800 angstrom. This range of UV can easily be converted into the wavelength belonging to the visible range. If the converted wavelength is just about 3800 angstrom, it appears violet. But If it increases further, the emitted light may be of any of the following colors belonging to the visible range. Since UV is harmful to the human eye, the ocular lens is made up of ordinary glass. This helps to prevent UV ultraviolet light reaching the eyes, but the fluorescence can be easily observed. Another system is illumination system, which is of three different types: dye illumination system or dark ground illumination obtained by using the substage bright field condenser, oblique illumination obtained by using a substage dark ground condenser, epi illumination system obtained by using a beam splitter through an objective. Each of the three methods of illumination has its own advantages and disadvantages. But fluorescent microscope of good quality has provision for both dye illumination and epi illumination of the objects. Now, this was all about the construction and working of the fluorescent microscope. Now, we will move on to the applications of phase contrast microscope. The first application is fluorescent microscope is used for detection and demonstration of materials like nucleic acids, proteins, carbohydrates, chlorophyll, etc., which are in extremely low concentrations. It can even detect fluorescent particles of submicroscopic sizes. Fluorescent microscope can be effectively used for understanding the banding pattern of the chromosome. Kasperson et al. In 1968 showed banding pattern on both sister chromatids of chromosomes using the fluorescent dyes. Fluorescent dyes like quinacrine and quinacrine mustard are used to obtain specific pattern of cross striations or bands on chromosomes. The chromosomal bands appear with alternate fluorescent and non-fluorescent band. The bands obtained with the quinacrine are called as Q bands, while the ones obtained with quinacrine mustard are called as QM bands. Bands are obtained when the fluorescent dyes attach to the specific regions of the chromosome. One of the most popular uses of fluorescent microscopy is the utilization of labeled antibodies for detection of cell components or particular organelles in the midst of all other molecular species of the cell. The antibodies bind to the certain specific cellular component in the cell and are used as markers for their detection. Next important use is supravital staining. Since fluorochromes are used in the extremely small quantities, they can be used for supravital staining with minimum damage to the cells. Neutral red is a supravital fluorescent stain. It is used for staining living cells. Cells with fluorescent dyes can be detected easily under the fluorescent microscope. Moreover, fluorescence microscopy provides or gives an opportunity to observe opaque or relatively opaque objects. It is done by using epi illumination system. So this is an added advantage over the microscopes like phase contrast microscopes, etc. And the phase contrast microscope can just be used for transparent objects, but these microscopes can also be used for opaque objects. So this was all about the fluorescent microscope from my side. Thank you so much.